안녕하세요, 여러분. Don't worry, that's the only Korean I'll say. I'm Jenny from Som, and with me is Chef Alex홍 of Sorrel, San Francisco, one of my favorite restaurants ever in San Francisco. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. If you wouldn't mind first, just introducing yourself and kind of like your path from where you started as a chef to how you ended up here in Sorrel.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been open for about 6 years, but however, we started as a pop-up in 2013, and this was this incredible journey of 3 years of trial and error, trying to create a restaurant, trying to see if we could run a restaurant with a small group of friends, and this it was a lot of trial and error, and we went, I think we were in like around 10 locations total throughout those 3 years. But at the time, and still, it's a great it's a great way for someone who doesn't have any money, doesn't have a lot of connections, to kind of get their groundings in the restaurant industry. And through there, we met we met the right people. We gained a following, and we opened up a restaurant, Sorrel, brick and mortar in 2018. But it's been a whirlwind. We've opened up as a a la carte menu, and throughout the past 6 years, we've kind of evolved into just a tasting menu, offering a 5-course and an 8-course menu as well.
Yes, I went to many of those pop-ups over the years. It was incredibly delicious then. It's incredibly delicious now. You also got a star your first year out of the gate in the brick and mortar.
We got a star and a James Beard nom. It was really incredible. I think nothing compares to all that hard work being recognized and getting that accolade.
Absolutely well deserved. Yes,
Thank you.
Been a big fan of you and your food and the whole team for quite a while. What role does wine play in the Sorrel experience? And do you do wine education for your staff?
Yeah, we recently, or not recently, a year and a half ago, took on a full-time beverage director, Thomas Renshaw, who's definitely left an incredible thumbprint on this restaurant in terms of wine knowledge and creating a very specific wine list that goes with our food, but also caters to the people of San Francisco and this neighborhood and whatnot. We started off doing some consulting with a good friend of mine, Sam Bogue, who helped.
I remember Sam.
He's from Nitimius, and he was consulting, and kind of his kind of take on wine was more of like a natural wine approach, delicious wines. As we evolved into this fine dining restaurant, we needed a bigger list, and we also wanted someone present on the floor, really pitching why we chose these wines with the pairing, or why the wine list it is the way that it is. So.
Wow.
But Thomas has been great. He's works here every day, he's just totally changed our wine program here at Sorrel to something that's very exciting.
That's amazing. And do you guys do any education with the staff sometimes, or does he run that?
Every day we do a lineup. We do a tasting of a new wine. We also do kind of a mandatory wine class every period, and all the front of the house and some of the back of the house join as well, where we just talk about wine and open up new wines and old wines, and just do staff education. And then annually we do a trip up to Napa Sonoma and go to a vineyard for someone who is pouring wine, or a supplier that's on our wine list.
Wow, that's a lot. That's intense. That's really wonderful, though, that your staff gets all of that support from you guys. So every chef has their own story to tell, their own unique approach. I'm curious, do you ever consciously think when you're creating new dishes about wines that will pair, or do you leave that completely and totally to your directors? Obviously very capable hands. How does that work between you two?
It kind of goes back and forth. I would say primarily, he caters to us, and
Okay.
we get the decision of working with the seasons, working with ingredients, and creating a menu. And then Thomas comes and he sees the flavor profiles, he sees the techniques, and he picks a wine or beer or sake or any sort of beverage that pairs along with the food. But however, like for instance, tonight we have our Barolo dinner, and we've done a couple winemaker dinners in the past, and that totally flips. We were presented these Barolos a month ago, and now we're catering a menu to match these Barolos, or when we've had a couple wine dinners, we get the lineup, and we're creating foods that go with those wines.
So I know last year you also did a winemaker dinner with Reese and Aries. I know you've obviously done other winemaker dinners. How do those come together? Is it they approach you, or do you sometimes go to them? How has that kind of come together in the past?
Mainly, I think like nowadays, like wine dinners are getting more and more popular. I think last year it was kind of like, all right, well, let's bring something fun and exciting to Swirl, wine dinners, guest chef dinners, and it was a lot of reach out. But recently we've had a lot of like distributors and winemakers, see what we've been doing with other winemakers, and asking us to do some sort of collaboration. I think working with a distributor, the past 2 wine dinners have been introductions, from the distributor and their connections in the wine world. But yeah, I think it kind of goes from Thomas's reach out to sporadic winemaker locally who just wants to do a fun dinner with us.
Yeah, well, I mean, who wouldn't? Because you're amazing.